Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seaview Quantum Network. I'm your presenter, Daniel, and I'm here with producer Claudia Pareco. Our opening song features Sunset Serenade by Cyclone. Albums and singles are available in all music stores and platforms. A moment of your time is one of the most extraordinary gifts we could ever be given. Each week, we create a place for you to rest your heart by providing the platform for peaceable connection to the most gifted lightworkers, intuitives, alternative healers who will surprise you with something different, something outside of what's expected, innovative and unique. Our shows are held on Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern U.S. time and 9 a.m. Pacific time. At any moment to participate on our shows, please call 805-830-8344 and press 1 to talk with the host. Take My Call. At any moment before or during the show, you can opt for Take My Call and jump the long line of callers. We are now following the pay what you can business model. You pay what you feel our services are worth to you. You can send a payment using paypal.me/PURECO and add the amount that you want. To request a show, please write to Claudia Pareco at cview1111@gmail.com or visit our website, cview1111.net. Now, close your eyes and get in touch with the present, the only reality. Feel your body, feel your breath, and let it drift back to the present moment.
If you have gotten lost in the storms, it is time to come back to peace. The way back is always in the inner. We can battle forever to clear something that is not working with our mind. But when we step into clearing it from within, it works fast. So when it's windy, it is windy. But the storm shall pass, and it will be clear again. Don't fight the wind, don't fight the storms. Ishtar wrote. Welcome everybody to Seaview. Today we have The Shift of the Ages, a podcast where we know that change is the only constant, and where we bring host Jane Smolnik Boyd with this transformational show where we answer to questions like, what does that mean? What does this shift of the ages mean? What is it? How do we work with it? How does that impact our daily lives? Dr. Jane Smolnik Boyd has been a pioneer in the field of holistic health for over 36 years, as well as exploring our innate conscious and metaphysical ability. She is a master herbalist, doctor of natural medicine, certified intuitive healer, kinesiologist, Lance's avatar master and wizard, and the creator of the world-renowned biofield clearing technique, along with her loving guides. We welcome Jane to the show.
Thank you, Claudia. That was so nice. And welcome to everybody today listening to this, whether this is something fairly new to you or you've been working through some of this consciousness and ascension stuff for a long time. Hopefully you will be inspired to go further and do more. So, and I encourage you too, if you have friends that you think might really benefit from hearing this, please invite them even to the replay. So thank you. So I'm very excited about this because, as you may know, we are going through a major shift, a major ascension cycle. And this time, for all of humanity, there's no failing. We're already kind of well into it. But what does that mean exactly? I want to explain a little bit more about what being a third-dimensional human being is and how we're going to a shift into the fourth but also the fifth dimensional state and how they're different, how you can get there, and some of the really important techniques that you can do to assist yourself. So, as you may know, we are very high frequency light beings. We have been for a very long time. We were created from this divine source, this unlimited unified field, this potential, right? And we're actually an expression of it, and we are creative beings. We create. But what's happened, I'm not sure the exact time, but it's been at least 1,000 years, if not more, that some dark forces came onto this planet to try to control humans, take energy away from humans to feed their own dark agendas. And they've done this to other star systems, other planets, and they've actually been taken down. And now we're at a time where we have a tremendous amount of help, whether you know it or not, from the Galactic Federation of Worlds, all the different high-frequency star beings that have eliminated these darker forces. But what has happened is, for a very long time, they actually genetically restricted our DNA. They actually turned off 10 of our 12 strands of DNA to limit our abilities, even shortening our lifespan and our potentials, really limiting the human potential. So right now, since they deactivated the 10 strands of DNA, we are moving through a cycle where more of this is going to be activated again. Do you know that, our human consciousness is kind of like a quantum computer in a sense. We are connected to this unlimited unified field of all possibilities, all potential. But most of us are only operating on about 10 to 20% of our light body, so a much smaller percentage. Even our mind, our consciousness, we're only using about 10 to 20%. And with this ascension cycle, we're actually going to much more expanded states of abilities. So we used to be very powerful, high-frequency beings, right, that could create whatever we wanted. But the dark put a frequency ceiling on us because they couldn't go past that. And they utilize our fear, our energy, our traumas. So from my understanding, and I've been working with my guides, I have to say, since I was probably a teenager. And for many years, I have been also highly trained in expanded states of consciousness for the last 33 years. And it just blew my mind and changed my life tremendously. So I really feel called to share this with people as a humanitarian, to share this with all people in a sense. So what happened was, many years ago, our Earth, which is normally a fifth dimensional planet, just like all other dimensions are fifth dimensional, which is more spiritual, vibrational, energetic. But we were cloaked in a third dimensional limited kind of shield or realm around us. And these lower, denser vibrating beings that actually tried to control things, we call it the powers that be, kind of the 1%, the elite. They take all their money and power. They've taken money and power from us constantly to keep us limited, to keep us in survival mode, to keep us struggling, which is really not our natural state. That's not where we're supposed to be. But the third dimensional realm that we've been used to, we see depth, width, height, we see our what's around us, right? But what's more than that is it's actually, the third dimensional state is actually a very limited realm where we don't feel really connected to source. We feel more disorder, more incoherence, more polarity, more duality. It's very predictable. We're comfortable with the known, what we know, what we do. So what ends up happening sometimes is we end up utilizing the exact same things like every single day. We go through our routines, basically. We tend to think the same kind of thoughts. We do the same kind of things. We have a little bit of variety to it, and we can entertain ourselves and distract us. But what's happening is our brains have been programmed to stay in this muddle of lower vibrating frequencies, right? And we're always programmed, our brain is programmed to always go back to the known because that's comfortable for us. We just stick with what we know, do with what we do over and over again. And this is what's called gene signaling. It signals our genes to stay in the exact same place, right? And we end up having chronic conditions that show up over and over again. We have disease, ailments, illnesses that are actually very low vibrations. So we keep going back to these default patterns, and we have to understand how to get out of it. So sometimes what we do is we create crisis and things to kind of trigger ourselves out of it. But we're not always cognizant of the fact that we actually are much more powerful. We have more light. We have more abilities. And when we become more awake and aware, which many of us are, we realize that that manipulation, that sense of programming that keeps us stuck and limited doesn't work for us anymore, right? So that sense of manipulation that keeps us kind of stuck, it makes us make the same decisions over and over again instead of stepping out into a higher state of being. So as we do that, as we step out, and we move from what is known and doing the same, repeating the same patterns, the same cycles, the same routines over and over again. So what we have to do is really broaden our focus, broaden our awareness. We tend to see things kind of like tunnel vision. We have our own particular viewpoint of things. And that's what gets us into trouble with other people, other countries. That's what creates wars. We have different viewpoints. That's it, different beliefs. But the more you open your awareness and expand to all viewpoints, and actually I was trained back in the 90s to look at things in a multidimensional manner. Look at all viewpoints. Expand your awareness. Change your thoughts. Change your focus patterns. Change your energy. Change your frequency. And we are actually connected to and contain in every cell in our body this infinite potential of the universal consciousness, divine source, the unified field, where all possibilities exist. But we're limited in what we think we can create. Do you know that the lower vibrating emotions, the trauma, the fear, the shame, the guilt, the greed, lust, worry, resistance, all those lower vibrating emotions bring us right back down into that limited state. I call it kind of pulls us off center, so we're not aligned with our highest and true self. And we don't even realize it. We just keep going back into these old challenges. And we have to learn how to shift that, because most of the time, our focus is on the past. So to understand what that means is whenever you're feeling things like shame and guilt and trauma and resistance and fear and doubt and all that stuff, you're actually recreating something from the past over and over again. You're not actually creating that in the present. If you were fully conscious in the present moment and aware of this potential that we contain, you wouldn't be doing that to yourself. But our limited consciousness goes back to the known, those same patterns, because that's what we know. That's what we do. How do we shift that? That's what a big part of this talk is going to be about. How do we change that? So we have to change the thoughts, the focus, the patterns, the energy, our frequency, our vibration. I mean, turn off your TV. It's actually programming, and it's really controlled by the powers that be. They own basically, and they tell you what they want you to think and know, and it really limits us. So let go of that. I let go of that many, many years ago. So if you actually go through what we call the fourth dimensional state, and I've mentioned this before, you shift past the lower astral realm of those lower vibrating frequencies and you go into the higher vibrating frequencies of love and appreciation and gratitude and compassion and joy and unity and all that, to go into the higher states, but also going in from that into the place of being aware of no thing, no one, no time, no space, no where, absolute nothingness, where we actually go into an expanded state in all directions into the 0 point field. Now that 0 point field is where we have unified consciousness. It's really where we're connected to everyone, everything, everywhere. There's no separation. We can have anybody, anywhere, do anything we choose. You can be whole, happy, aware. You can create almost instantly and kind of magically. When I learned all this stuff back in the 90s from a lot of my training, it was like, oh my gosh, I felt like sparks were flying from my fingertips. You know, we can learn to create. When we're in that lower vibrational state of just a limited third dimensional reality, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to create something. It takes a lot of time to manifest something in our life, right? But when we go into the higher state, when we bring ourselves back to that present moment and really keep bringing ourselves back to the present moment, how often are we not in the present moment? We're actually either thinking about what we have to do, what we should be doing, or what we did, or what they said, or what, whatever. We're thinking of the past or the future. And you may have heard it said that depression is when you're really stuck in the past, and anxiety is when you're constantly worrying about the future. Neither one of those are when you're being present. So bringing ourselves back into this present moment, one of the best ways to do that is to breathe into your heart. So this is a big piece of what we're changing, what we're shifting, is changing the paradigm, the tendency to always be in our head. Our ego mind is a very limited state of being. That's where we have our fears, doubts, worries, guilt, judgments. We have been programmed to put a judgment or a label or an opinion on everyone and everything. Do you know what that does? It immediately limits you. It immediately puts you into a reactive mode. You react to everything. You attach your emotions to it like glue, and there's no shift, no creation that's happening. We just bounce around it. So every time we bring ourselves back into that present moment and we breathe into our heart center, relax, open up the energy, breathe deep into your belly, deep into your heart and soul. We have to start as a human race. We have to start learning how to live in our heart center, to express from our heart, to live in our heart, to have our heart lead us in a sense. You know, some people are very loving and aware, and they can do that fairly easily. And other people have much more of a challenge of opening our heart. You know why? Because we have in our DNA, we contain in our DNA probably about 34,000 bits of information, but we have all these inherited patterns, ancestral patterns, influences, beliefs that are limited thoughts like, oh, well, we don't really deserve it, we're not really worthy, no one listens to us, whatever it is. We have all these limiting thoughts and beliefs and experiences. Then we have experiences that we layer on top of it to say, see, I told you that was right, and we're just caught in a vicious cycle. But when you bring yourself back to the present moment and you realize, right now, nothing's wrong. I'm not limited. I can choose what I want to feel. I can choose what I want to think. How does my heart feel about something? When we connect more with our heart center and let our heart lead us, not our mind, then we follow our passions, our joy, our desires, and we move forward. When we experience or come across something, someone, some event, some place, that our heart says, oh, that doesn't feel very good, or I don't really want to do that, or I'm not happy about that, then we have to listen to our heart instead of our head telling us, oh, well, you should do it anyway, So the heart frequency gives you authentic emotions like peace and love and passion and excitement, joy, all of that. It's a much more higher frequency emotion. And when we refer to going into the heart center, it's also referred to as going within. We have to go within. We have to connect and tap into our true guidance system, right? Not the manipulated, limited, guidance of the mind and of our outer reality. Because that's constantly trying to grab our attention. Look at how many things have been created to distract us. You know, we have sports, and we have shopping, and we have TV, and we have gaming, and we have all kinds of things, right? We can easily be distracted all day long and hardly ever connect with our heart center. But we have to exercise our ability to be authentic, to be connecting with these high frequency emotions. Because when we do that, we start to mirror our desires and our passions, and our intention gets clear, and we're facing forward, looking toward the future. And this really makes the dark lose control over us, because they can't control us. They are fed by our fear, limitations, and trauma. So let go of that. When we consistently operate from our heart center, it's like we flip our own switch. We can create whatever we want. We are multidimensional beings. We can tune into the vessels of whatever frequency we like and go there instantly, right? Source energy is very real. We feel empowered. We feel connected. We feel so incredible and limitless that it's almost too difficult to fathom, to understand that. For most of us, our minds are too limited, but we have to let go of that. So really transitioning to living and breathing in the heart center helps us to recalibrate our light body to your physical body. That's the ascension process. Ascension has been sold to us as if you ascend to a consciousness somewhere else, but that's not true. You actually are it. You feel it, you experience it, you create it from within. And we become more empowered, more aligned, more grounded, right? More effective. We manifest much more rapidly. And do you know, if enough of us can stay in our heart center consistently, then we can shift. And this is what's happening. The entire collective consciousness. We have our individual consciousness, right? We also have our subconscious and our unconscious mind. Do you know that they say we're only aware of about 10% in our conscious mind of what's really going on? Because we're only using a very limited portion of our brain. Now, what if you could connect with the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, as well as the superconscious mind, that collective unified field of divine source, right? So all we have to do is grow our light, be in the present moment, find that peace and joy and excitement, and really learn who we truly are, basically, and how we manifest and create. So it might sound kind of simple, but it's something that we have to keep practicing, to flip that switch, going back to, what does my heart and soul feel? What is it pulling me toward? What is it resisting, right? So the inner work that we do helps us to be divine, sovereign beings. Nobody has control over us. We choose. We create from a higher state of being, from higher vibrational intentions, in a sense. So that going within means processing information and making decisions from your heart center and tuning into the frequencies of peace, love, inspiration, without using the mind energy controlling everything. How many of us do you do this where we're constantly in our head trying to figure something out, trying to analyze it, trying to determine what to do, and we have all of our fears, doubts, our limited beliefs, and our judgments that come into place, and what should we do? And it drives us nuts, right? It does. So we have to disengage that brain. What I was told a long time ago is that we are meant to utilize our mind as a tool, but not live there. The mind actually lives and dies with the body, the vessel that we have. But the consciousness, the spirit, the awareness ascends. It shifts, right? So your mind is designed to keep you in your mind, so it won't surrender to you very easily. Sometimes it feels like a power struggle where it's, wait a minute, you're trying to gain more awareness, right? You're trying to become more aware of your thoughts. But we really have to slow things down, right? And just really observe how we operate, what we're doing. So this is a really great technique too, because one of the things that we can do is expand our awareness right? We don't just stop at the edge of the skin, right? We have an energy field around us. We have a mental body, an emotional body, a soul body, and a divine spirit self. But the more you can expand your awareness out, and or even just connecting to your higher self. So you may or may not know, if you understand the chakras, we have 7 chakras within the body, but there's also several chakras above the body. There's also our Earth Star chakra below the body, which grounds us to the earth. But if you were to take your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, open up your crown, and all you have to do is say, open my crown. Snap your fingers and it opens. Expand your awareness up maybe a foot or so above your head and connect with your higher self. Just connect with your higher self and operate from that state more often. Practice it. Observe yourself. Your higher self is always neutral, compassionate, very aware, very wise, very loving. Connect with your higher self and observe yourself. Become a master of watching. Watch yourself. How are you being? What are you doing? What are you saying? Listen to yourself. Observe yourself when you're talking to your friends, when you're out in public, when you're doing routine things during the day. Just watch, am I doing it out of just a replay of the same thing over and over again? Am I just going into my default patterns? Or am I choosing to be present, to be aware? There's a very distinct difference in that energy. When you're in the present moment and you're aware, you're actually looking forward. You're not looking backwards. We don't create looking backwards toward the past. We just do things over and over again, and they may have a little bit of a different color or a different texture or a different scenario, but it's really the same kind of things. But when you let go of all that and just stay in your heart center and let your heart lead you toward what it is you're choosing to experience. I just love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of my favorite people because I love how he explains everything. And he has the book Becoming Supernatural, and he has trainings on that, which I've actually gone through as well. So what we have to do is notice that change comes from within and comes from intention. When you expand into that 5th dimensional state of awareness, right, you're in a higher vibrational state. Your spirit is kind of set free in a sense. It's just connected to this infinite divine potential. We can change our thoughts, our focus, our patterns. We go into this place where there's no time, no place, no energy, like I mentioned, that 0-point field. Time is eternal. Space brings you closer to source, basically. You manifest much more rapidly, and you have unlimited potential, unlimited possibilities. It's like you can pick and choose what you want. You create a new vision of what you want. So one of the things he says is, what's your intention? Keep your eyes on your goal. Create an intention. If you were to look at your own life, how would you like it to feel in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What direction are you heading? Are you going to keep doing the same thing over and over again and complain about, I don't have enough money, I'm not really that happy, and I wish I had more of this? No. What is it that you would like to experience? Let it come from your heart. Let it open up. And as you raise your frequency, your vibration, you're actually, and putting your intention on it, really creating a picture of what is it that I'm choosing? What is my heart excited about? What is it passionate about, right? Then you start to create a new vibration and you draw that to you. The more you put your attention on it and you focus on that goal, one of the things he says, just create your goal and focus on your goal, and the path will automatically reveal itself. Don't worry about the little details. That's the ego mind that wants to get in the way and pull you off center, right? So just feel everything you do coming from a place of love, a place of passion, a place of joy, a place of gratitude, because those are the higher vibrating frequencies of being a 5th dimensional being. You are a divine spirit and you're very aware of it, right? And you can actually go even into more higher states, higher dimensions. You become source. You honor your true self. You honor your true desires. And you can move forward in that way. So if we surround ourselves with just negative thoughts or experiences or the traumatic events that we create over and over from our past, are you clinging to your old traumas, or can you move past them and let them go? So those traumas, or the things that recondition us to review those traumatic events over and over again, that feeds the dark entities. It's one of the reasons why, we're asked to remember things like 9/11 or the Holocaust or big things that are traumas to us. As we relive them, we put this drama into place over and over again, and it actually feeds the dark energy, the dark entities, the lower vibrations. It keeps us stuck in that sense. So we have to come to terms with all of our challenges from the past. And do you know every single human on this planet comes into this lifetime with certain challenges to go through? Every single one of us. That's part of our evolutionary process, right? We really have to look at, okay, what can I learn here? We can take our most challenges, experiences, and how do we extrapolate what our soul is trying to gain from it? How does this make me stronger, wiser, a better person? How does this help me increase my internal power? How do I have power over things instead of these have power over me? So if you really don't enjoy the particular frequency that you're in, you really have to shift it. One of the ways we do that, like I said, is you start breathing into your heart and your belly. Breathe into your heart and soul. Even put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and breathe into it. And notice any tightness, any stress, any tension in your body. Now let your body relax. Let go of the tension. Feel, what does your heart feel, right? What is it pulling you toward? So we just have to really start to control our own universe and our own mind. We have to honor our true self, our true desires, and what works for us, and not be so concerned with what do others want you to do. Are you constantly doing what everybody else expects you to do? Because we do that over and over again, and it keeps us in this limited loop. So we really have to shift and start feeling into everything that we're doing, become more aware. We move through space, time, go through different dimensions by changing our frequency. So you know how I said, everything has frequency, right? You've probably heard that a million times. What does that mean? We vibrate at different states. Matter has a particular frequency that's denser. Human beings have a particular frequency. And our thoughts, our emotions have particular frequencies. Places do as well. Beliefs do. Everything does, basically. And that statement, you've probably heard it a million times. You can't change things by doing it from the same level of consciousness that created it, right? Because the level that created it is stuck in that lower vibrational loop. We have to expand our awareness and go to a higher state, a higher frequency, in order to be able to shift it. So doesn't that make sense? It's kind of interesting, I think, because we don't really understand how remarkable we are, but the more we pull our attention toward it, kind of flip that switch to turn the brain off and live in our heart and soul and move from your heart and soul. Your heart knows you better than you know yourself, so let your heart guide you in a sense. And we can move through space and time. We can feel more connected to source, this unified field, this quantum consciousness, right? That 0 point field where there's no separation, there's no limitations. Everything is possible at all times. There's peace, there's joy, there's wonder, awe, magnificence, love, compassion. It's just an extraordinary state. So the more we can work with and learn some of the tools. Now, we also have the potential and the ability, every single one of us, we have an innate intelligence. We have an intuitive center, right? So how do you learn how to use more of your consciousness in a direct, intentional manner to be more intuitive, to be more telepathic, to communicate, to feel into other people's frequencies and vibrations? How do we feel into that? How do we actually feel into thought forms, beliefs, patterns, creations? How do we create? How do we manifest? All these things there's so many different tools and techniques for doing all these things. So, I've been working with this for well over 33 years, actually. I did some intensive training starting in 1990 and continued for many years, and it blew me away. I would do it over and over again and go to higher and higher levels of the trainings and do them over and over again. And it was just amazing to me how much my life shot up like a rocket. And I was like, oh, I have to teach this. After a few years, it was like I went for the master's training so I could teach it, and then I'm still a licensed master to teach this, and went to the higher states. Now, out of all of this, and, I became, an herbalist, naturopathic doctor, iridologist, kinesiologist, all this stuff. I went to school for intuitive diagnosis, advanced energy healing, anything my heart was drawn to, and I loved it. But what I've learned over the years, especially in my practice, is you can't just expect to heal by focusing on the physical body. That's not enough. The physical body is where things manifest kind of last. It starts out on a soul level. It goes into our mind, our conscious awareness, our emotions feel it. And then if we don't heal things that are out there in our energy field, our biofield, then it manifests in the physical body. So out of all this, let me take a quick drink. Okay, out of all this, I recognized that we have to heal on all those levels. So over the years, with the help of my guides, I created a variety of different charts, like different trapped emotions, core fears, inner challenges, limiting beliefs, stuck energy in our body, in our chakras, cords, psychic cords, lower vibrating energies. I mean, there's so many different things. And I developed the biofield clearing technique by just learning how to ask, connect with our divine source, our angels, our guides, our star family, star council, higher self, and ask, related to our concerns in life, what do we need to release that we're not really aware of because it's stuck in our subconscious and unconscious mind? And they'll point right to certain things, and we can determine exactly when it got stuck, how old you were in this lifetime, did it come from your ancestors, your inherited family, whatever, past life issues that never got resolved. And we can actually bring them up to our conscious awareness and neutralize, dissolve, and turn them off. So these are actually things that are held in our DNA, and it's in our biofield around us. You know how when you meet someone and you automatically meet their energy field first, and you either are instantly drawn to them or you don't really like their energy and you just don't really connect well. That's okay, But it is amazing when we start to become aware of, bring into our conscious awareness what we need to let go of. All the old traumas, the fears, the doubts, the limitations, and the judgments. We let it go and start being more aware of being empowered, connected, and aligned with our highest and true self, our divine spirit self, which is our absolute self. It never changes, never dies, never goes away. Our relative self is our personality, our ego mind, our fears, our beliefs, our doubts, our experiences. That changes. We can change a belief in an instant if we want to, right? And we can move through different beliefs, different thoughts, different patterns, different things, especially by choice. So what I would suggest is make a committed choice for yourself to, first of all, expand your awareness and connect more with your higher self, your soul self, and just watch yourself, observe yourself. Do you know, it's kind of like this technique has been taught many times. It's kind of called watching the monkey mind. When we watch ourselves from the higher state viewpoint, we recognize that how we're being. And do you know that you naturally will automatically correct yourself and realign with your highest self when you're watching, observing, instead of just being in your head and bouncing off of everything in your head, right? Expand your awareness out. And also even looking at the big picture. You know, our society has trained us and taught us to put a label and a judgment on it. It's also taught us to be all about self. What can I get for myself? You know, we're very competitive and we want instant gratification. Should I do this? Should I do that? Well, if it's going to give me more money or more love or more joy or more sex, I'll do it. But when we expand our awareness to look at the big picture, and this is something that I teach to my students as well, the word relax actually comes from the Latin word relere, which means widen back, look at the big picture. And you know, there's an old Native American tradition where when they are about to make an important decision, they go and they sit with it. And they ask the Great Spirit and they look, will this benefit all my relations 7 generations out? That's how they determine whether it's a good choice. That's a very wise thing to do. Do you know the Native Americans, actually, they've known for many, many, many years. They were seeded here from the Pleiadians. Many of us have been. Many of us are star seeds. Many of us have come from different places. And we have that genetic royalty basically in our DNA. Do you know they say that we have about 24 different genetics in the human species from higher consciousness star beings, although we have been cloaked and limited for a very long time, and all that's going away now. That's the thing that's very exciting. So I've actually been in training to become a humanitarian as we go through this great shift to be able to help others be more prosperous, more aware, more abundant, more conscious, more creative, to manifest the life that they choose. So kind of going back to a little bit, when I created this whole biofield clearing thing, the thing that's highly beneficial about that is all these things that we may not be consciously aware of or we've forgotten about, all the things that pull us off center, these things that keep getting triggered over and over again in our life, we bring them up and we can neutralize them. And then after we cleared and neutralized a whole bunch of stuff in the biofield, we can help to realign you with your highest and true self. What are the empowering beliefs that are beneficial? You know, what are the virtues that you're here to master that are trying to emerge from your heart and soul? What do you need to master for your infinite beingness? And what are your particular inner healing keys that is the key to your own empowerment? So for something like that, I do have a website called biofieldclearing.com, and I teach practitioners how to do this. I know Claudia has done this as well. But I also want to talk about, I have another website called awakenmywisdom.com, and there is where I like to teach different classes and courses on developing higher levels of conscious awareness. So I have a series coming up called Becoming 5D Beings. I actually started working on this, and many of these I actually did a number of years ago. And I started working on it last year, and then I had life come up, and things got a little challenging. My son had passed away suddenly, and that was a big interruption in my life. I'm very excited and passionate about helping others as we move through this great shift. So if you want to, my first class is absolutely free. It's a Zoom class. And if you want to go to awakenmywisdom.com and click on online classes, it's going to be a whole series of classes called Becoming 5D Beings. And I love using pictures and visuals and stuff. There'll be PowerPoints, there'll be a little workbook or a PDF handout that goes with it. But to really get really clear with yourself and understand it. And then we'll go into a series of different classes in a sense, and learn all kinds of tools and techniques for deepening your intuition, for communicating with nature, with animals, for becoming more telepathic, for connecting with your guides, your star family or star council, higher selves, to learn tools and techniques to use. Like, how do we expand our conscious abilities? Do you know, with this ascension, we're actually moving into a state where we're going to be utilizing about 40% of our brain instead of that 10%, maybe 15%, and for some a little more gifted, 20%. We are expanding our abilities to utilize our consciousness, to manifest, to become more of who we truly are, these infinite, divine, beautiful, spiritual beings. And you know how life is going to change coming up this year, in the very near future? We have a lot of things that are going to be disclosed and opened up. And we're moving, as all the dark energies are being pushed off the planet, they're being eliminated, they're being neutralized. We're going to start shifting, and we already are. All the little solar flares, the coronal mass ejections, all this energy that comes in, all that light frequency and energy actually brings information, and it raises our vibration, it raises our frequency. Little by little, we are shifting and shifting and shifting. The Schumann resonance, which is the frequency and the vibration of the earth, is rising up off the charts. And all mammals, including humans, and all animals are connected to this Schumann resonance, which is the frequency of the earth. Our brains are connected. You know, the beta, alpha, theta, delta brainwave patterns are all connected to the Schumann resonance, and it's going to be expanding. It is expanding. And our potential is rising up. So the more you can rise up with awareness and intention and integrate that, the more empowered you're going to be, the more you can keep bringing yourself back to the present moment. Feel into your heart. What does my heart say about this? Forget about your mind. I mean, not to forget about it, but you don't have to always have your mind be the one that's controlling your life. You know, you have intention. You know, use your awareness to be more empowered, to be more aware. Expand your awareness out. One simple exercise I like to teach people too is to go into that place of deep peace. So when we close our eyes and we breathe into our heart center and ground yourself, feeling grounding cords like roots going down bottom of your feet all the way deep into the earth, and feel connected to this earth. We are a society that's become very disconnected from nature. Very disconnected from nature. We used to be what was kind of considered more wild humans, where we would hunt and gather and forage and build our own homes and do this and that. And we don't do any of that stuff anymore. We have stores and packaged food and genetically modified food and processed food. We rarely connect with nature. We wear shoes all the time. So anyway, ground and connect with nature. And then breathe that energy into your heart center, and then open and expand your awareness above your crown and expand it all the way out as far as you can imagine, into no time, no space, no one, no thing, nowhere, into the divine space of the universe. Expand your awareness out into this unified field of unlimited universal consciousness, and just hang out in that space. It's very peaceful. It's awe-inspiring. It's magnificent. It's quiet. It's beautiful. Hang out in that space and just breathe into it. Stop the busy mind. Just be aware of us being a little tiny speck in this infinite universe, multiverse. It goes out and out and out, and go into that 0-point field. That's where everything gets neutralized, all the fears and the challenges and stuff. So that's something I would offer for you to consider doing more of. Go within, not without. Don't look for the answers outside yourself. Practice going within. Practice feeling into your heart center every single day. What does my heart feel about this? What am I being drawn to? So what brings me joy? And move forward, not backwards. Let go of the past. Bless your past. Close the door. Say, thank you very much. You've taught me a lot. And now I'm ready to move forward and create a beautiful, magnificent place. So when we go into this fifth dimensional state of spiritual beings, not everybody's going to get there. Some people are still going to be a little stuck. But the majority of us, when we're in that space, we have love, we have kindness for all humanity, we have compassion, we have abundance. We are going to have an abundance like you've never had before. We are going to take care of each other. The focus is shifting from that third dimensional concept of what's in it for me, right? Competition, what can I get? Instant gratification. We're shifting to how can I help? How can I serve humanity? What are my gifts that I can contribute to make this a better world? That's where we're moving toward. That's where we're all going to be living. It's called the golden age of Gaia that we're moving toward. This is something that's been in the Bible for a long years, that whole thing about moving into 1,000 years of peace. Our Earth has gone through, this is what they call and Bruce Lipton talks about this quite a bit, our sixth extinction event on this planet, but this time we succeed. So for those of you who are very aware of Atlantis was a very highly evolved state, or place, I should say, consciousness. But they had all this technology that was magnificent, and they got so caught up in the technology they forgot about their spiritual selves, which is what brought them down again. This time, that's not going to happen. This time, although we do have a lot of new technologies that are coming from different star planets that are higher vibrating, we have a lot of technologies that have been kept and hidden from us that we're going to start having, like free energy in our homes. One thing, the whole Starlink satellite. We're going to have all kinds of stuff, like a quantum universe, in a sense, quantum healing beds, all kinds of things are coming out, which is extraordinary. But as we move into this state, our potential is going to change dramatically. Our power, our light is shifting. Our vibration is going to a much higher vibration. That's why it's essential for us to eat good, healthy food, whole food, not processed food, not genetically modified, or now they call it biologically enhanced. When you see that on a package in a grocery store, read your labels, put it away. Biologically enhanced is now what they call the new genetically modified. But the thing I wanted to point out, too, is with all the new technology, and we keep hearing about AI, right, artificial intelligence, be very careful. Be very careful. Because we don't want to get to a point where AI, if we rely on AI for so much, it becomes a point where now we can't even control it anymore, and it has control over us, and it's going to bring us down as a society, as a race. So utilize it like you utilize your mind to figure something out, but don't live there. I know the Pleiadians, the star families, they say to us, the internet showed us the possibilities of connecting instantly with infinite amount of information. But we have to be aware of our inner net, connecting with your heart. We are like radio receivers, right? So tune into your power, your heart, your soul, your higher self, your guidance, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, your star family, your star council, and your divine source. So I want to pause for a minute and ask Claudia if there's any questions that may be coming up, so I don't just keep talking to the end.
No, we're doing very well. So, Jane, so you're going to start those classes soon and in awakenmywisdom.com. Mm-hmm. And people can start signing up for those, and the first class is going to be soon.
It's March 21st, which is a Tuesday, in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, in a week and a half. March 21st on a Tuesday. They're going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it'll probably be about an hour and a half. It'll be on Zoom. So I just want to mention, if you go to awakenmywisdom.com and click on online classes or courses, whatever, and you can register and you'll get the Zoom link. Now, it's not going to automatically send you the reminder. So you have to remember. But anyway, then you're welcome to join me on that. And, that'll be helpful, and I'll give more information there.
Okay, yeah. So, and also, if I want to have the biofield clearing class, how can I get into that, and when are you doing that?
Okay, I'll be doing another biofield clearing class to learn the technique. It's an 8-week series. It's 2 hours a week by Zoom, and you can get certified if you want to. And that will start in June. In April, I'm going to be doing the advanced class. But also, if you're interested in having a session with me, my personal website for scheduling appointments with me is ultimatehealing.com. I've had that since the 90s, ultimatehealing.com. So there's a couple of choices there. You can either do a biofield clearing session with me, which is a 90-minute session. And I'll tell you, for your listeners, Claudia, if you would like, I'll give you a special discount code. If you put in, as you make your appointment, biofield 30 off. So biofield with a capital B, and then 30 off, all connected, one word, you'll automatically get $30 off. I also do what's called transformational intuitive healing, where that's a little bit different. Like biofield clearing is a lot of healing, but the transformational intuitive healing, spiritual intuitive healing that I do, is also about 90 minutes, and I open your Akashic records, I connect with your guides, your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, and you can ask specific questions, what your concerns are about, and I channel any communication through them. I also record both of these sessions, so I send you the recording afterwards. And sometimes the most beautiful, powerful information and insights come through. So if you're interested in that particular healing, I'll give you a discount code for that, which is SPIRIT with a capital S, SPIRIT 30 off. And I'll give you $30 off of that as well, just to really experience it for yourself. All right? So I hope that helps. And that would be, you go to ultimatehealing.com. That's where you make appointments with me. AwakenMyWisdom.com is for my online classes of higher expanded states of consciousness. And then biofieldclearing.com is for learning how to do the course, the training, for yourself, for your family, your friends, for all kinds of different health practitioners, holistic practitioners, energy healers. Okay?
That's clear. And Jane, what is it that you want to leave us with before we finish today?
Okay, the biggest thing is to go within. All of your power is inside your heart and your soul. That's where everything should come from. Don't be seeking it all outside of yourself. We may have mentors that help us. You don't need a guru. Go within. Your heart knows. Your heart is wise. That's where you're going to be empowered. Okay? That's really the most important thing. Go within. Connect with your heart. Breathe into your heart. Love your heart. Love yourself. Self-love. The most important thing you can do in this life is love yourself deeply. So I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you so much. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye. I appreciate it.